Welcome to the Reed Report. Appreciate you guys for taking this time to hear me out here on the Reed Report, where today we will be covering a few stories, a few topics. We're going to be talking about USA women's basketball, give an update on the men's basketball team. We're going to be talking about the Carolina Panthers, give an update on that. Of course, we got preseason coming up this week, training camp still in effect. What's going on with my Carolina Panthers. We're also going to be talking about Brandon Aiyuk. I saw a story that broke that the 49ers are giving him permission to negotiate with two teams. And we'll find out who those teams are and go from there. But before we get to those, I want to start with the Chicago White Sox baseball. Because this right here just losing, being as bad as they've been this season. I can't say I didn't see it coming because I didn't really know what the White Sox would be this season. But it's still a big story because this is a historic franchise. So if you don't know, if you're just finding out now by watching the Reed Report, the White Sox have now lost 21 games in a row, straight consecutive games. 21 game losing streak. They have the worst record in the majors. I mean, their losing streak is almost up there with the amount of wins they have. 27 wins is the worst record in the majors, and the next team above them, the Colorado Rockies, has 41. So it's not even close how bad this team is. The losing streak ties the 1988 Baltimore O's for the longest American League losing streak in baseball history, and the longest NL losing streak, a mark that was held by the, I think it said 1963 or 61 Philadelphia Phillies, has a 23-game losing streak under their belt. And the longest in the majors that the MLB recognizes are the 1889 Louisville Cardinals, which lost 31 straight games. And the reason I wanted to talk about this briefly was because, I'm not the biggest baseball guy, but I remember it was just 3 years ago when this team was in the postseason and things looked like, the White Sox, they had built through their farm system, they were building the team to eventually, compete for a championship. And that was the last time they were in the playoffs, was 2021. Now, it wasn't that long ago, and the team that they lost to were the Houston Astros. But it's just surprising to see, because how quick 21, 22, 23, 24. It's surprising to see just how quickly they've fallen. Like, I didn't see this coming. I thought they were a team on the rise. I heard people talking good things about the White Sox. I remember, I think it was last season, I want to say, or the season before. I think it was the season before or something like that, when the Angels, I'm an Angels fan, and they beat the White Sox, and I thought it was a big early season, series win. We took 2 out of 3, and I was like, cool, because this is a good team right here, and this is a team that's going to be competing. If we can play with them, then the Angels are going to be on the rise. So I just remember that moment of thinking it was a big deal for us to beat the White Sox early in the season to try and make a statement, but it turned out to be nothing for both teams. The last time the White Sox won a postseason series was 2005 when they won the World Series and they swept the Houston Astros. Again, the only thing I can say, left about this, like I said, it's shocking to see them on this big losing streak when I thought they were a team on the rise. But for Chicago fans who root for the White Sox, at least you have the Bears to look forward to. At least you have the Chicago Bears, because, I can only imagine it is a nightmare being, especially a diehard White Sox fan. And the Cubs aren't much better. They're better, but they aren't much better. The Cubs, I think they fall into 5th in the NL Central after they were looking like they were going to make some noise, but they've fallen as well. So at least y'all have the Chicago Bears to look forward to out there, because on paper, the Chicago Bears should be a threat. They should be an exciting team, a good fantasy football team. A lot of players from that team are going to get drafted on fantasy football rosters, much like the Dolphins were last year. I think they were probably the top fantasy team. Detroit Lions were a fun team as well. So at least they have that to look forward to. Next story we want to talk about, we got the Carolina Panthers. My Carolina Panthers. And the story on this one right here, just riding that. The thing I want to talk about with this one was our new head coach, Dave Canales. He's talking about not playing Bryce Young in the preseason much, or maybe not even at all. And it's a quick little update from ESPN Panthers writer David Newton, not to be confused with Cam Newton, no relation to Cam Newton. But the story says it doesn't sound like quarterback Bryce Young will play much, if at all, in Thursday's preseason opener at New England. Coach Dave Canales said Monday that he has gone back and forth on whether to let Young play in any preseason games. He's already down backup quarterback Andy Dalton due to a hamstring, and it doesn't want to risk losing Young. Rookie Jack, I was thinking about Jake Plummer, the former Broncos quarterback. Jack Plummer has gotten a ton of reps with Dalton out, and Jake Luton was signed Monday with an eye on getting him ready for Thursday. The benefit of playing Young is giving him time with new center Austin Corbett. That's a new center we signed in our free agency. Panthers really did a good job of beefing up the offensive line because, Bryce Young got sacked probably about 65 times last year. Getting him familiar with new center Austin Corbett and his new receivers. The first-round draft pick Xavier Legette foot injury. Damn. Won't play against the Patriots, and it doesn't make sense to risk veteran receivers Dante Johnson and Adam Thielen. Young played some last preseason, but last year was his first, first at everything. He was a rookie, of course. So the reps probably were needed in 2023. So I would love to see Bryce play. My thoughts on this. I would love to see him play. And I think from the reports that I've been seeing about this is that Bryce Young has looked good in training camp. But of course, it's a different story when you get into real games. Of course, I'm not denying that. But he has looked good, and I think it's more of the injury to Andy Dalton, but I think it's more of it is about not wanting to risk Bryce Young getting injured. But the reason he's satisfied with that is because with not letting him play is because he's seen Bryce Young. He's seen enough to know that this is the guy. He's seen enough in training camp to know that this is the guy. But I don't want him to go the entire preseason without playing. I do want to see something. I know our new running back got injured and he's doubtful for the opening week against the Saints, which sucks because he looks like he's going to be a big time player for us. And then we got our rookie Xavier Legette with a foot injury out of South Carolina. And it's just, it's just like, man, I hope this preseason and these training camps doesn't derail what I hope can be a successful season for the Panthers. Not saying Super Bowl, but 9 wins, maybe win the South. Because look, it's not a lock that the Falcons are going to win that division. I don't think so. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Panthers fan. I still think the Bucks are in the mix, and the Saints maybe. But I'm just hoping that injuries don't derail this preseason. So if they feel that they have to keep these guys out of these preseason games, be my guest, and then just get in shape for the regular season, get ready for the Saints, and go from there. But I do want to see Bryce Young and those guys, before the season starts. But I do understand if that's not possible because we don't want to see our guys get injured and not even play in the season or miss a lot of games. set us back. But I am hopeful for this season. Just stay healthy. We got Brandon Aiyuk. Brandon Aiyuk. 49ers have Aiyuk trade framework with Browns and Patriots. This is a story from NBC Bay Area. It says the 49ers have negotiated the framework of trades that would send wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk to the Cleveland Browns or the New England Patriots, a league source told NBC Sports Bay Area on Monday night. Now, it's up to Aiyuk to determine if he will accept the contract terms from either of those franchises, the source said. The 49ers gave permission to Aiyuk to negotiate potential trade contracts with the Browns, Patriots, Washington Commanders, and Pittsburgh Steelers, the sources said. The Commanders have removed themselves from trade talks for Aiyuk, and the Steelers effectively no longer are an option after they declined to meet the 49ers trade demands, the source said. The Browns and Patriots have given their best offers to Aiyuk's camp while also presenting trade proposals that the 49ers have accepted, the source said. The 49ers likely would acquire a veteran wide receiver and a package of draft picks from the Browns or the Patriots. Okay, this is the next line is exactly what I was going to bring up. The Browns would be in a position to add Aiyuk if wide receiver Amari Cooper were sent to the 49ers as part of the trade. Damn. So they're going to give up one good receiver for another one if this happens. Because Cooper is still a number one option, in my opinion. Aiyuk, I don't think he's a Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Deebo Samuel type guy. So the Browns, if they can get Amari Cooper out of this trade, they would definitely, plus some draft picks, because Cooper is a bit older, I think they definitely win this trade. It goes on to say the Patriots are expected to include former 49ers wide receiver Kendrick Bourne as part of the deal if Aiyuk were to accept New England's offer. If Aiyuk ultimately declined to agree to sign a multi-year contract with the Browns or Patriots, it remains a possibility that he could remain with the 49ers. However, Aiyuk and the 49ers haven't engaged in substantive contract talks for months. He remains tied to the 49ers on a rookie deal that is scheduled to pay him $14 million this season. Aiyuk, 26 years old, reported to 49ers training camp on time, but isn't expected to step on the practice field this summer with any team until his contract is resolved. So yeah, there you have it. Brandon Aiyuk, possibly on the move for the right price. Of course, the 49ers will take it. And the 49ers in general, in my opinion, they still have the talent. They have all the talent in the world, of course. But it just feels, and this is just a feeling, it just feels like things won't be right for them after that Super Bowl loss. Not to mention they lost 4 years prior to the same team when they should have won that Super Bowl as well. It just feels that way. But of course, like I said, on talent, they still have Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, that defense, all the guys that they have. They still have a top team, and probably, in my opinion, Eagles are the favorite. I would favor the Eagles over them to come out of the NFC. But it just feels like it's going to be that. It feels like it's that situation, just like the Seattle Seahawks, when they didn't give Marshawn Lynch the football against the Patriots in that Super Bowl. They made it to the playoffs the very next year. They lost to the Panthers in the divisional round, but they were never really the same after that. They were never really the same. And I feel like with this Super Bowl, scapegoating Steve Wilkes, Shanahan, with all these stains on his resume, blowing, I don't necessarily completely fault him for what happened against the Patriots because he was just the offensive coordinator. the head coach, Dan Quinn, could have made the calls to run the ball. But Shanahan still has that stain on his record. The loss to the Rams in the NFC Championship, the loss to the Chiefs before that, in the first Super Bowl they played the Kansas City Chiefs. That loss to the Chiefs, they should have won. They should have won the Rams NFC Championship game. Can't fault them for losing to Philly in the conference championship game because their quarterback went down, in the beginning of the game. And they were really working with a fourth-string quarterback. But you can fault him for losing to the Chiefs the first time, losing to the Rams, and losing to the Chiefs last season. And it just feels like that team is just not going to be the same. I could be wrong. I'm not going to, of course, this is just a feeling. This is just what I'm looking at. It just feels like something isn't right with that team. Anyway, wherever Aiyuk lands, and if he go to Cleveland, that'd be big for Cleveland. And it'd also be big for the 49ers. If he goes to the Patriots, not really sure, because it depends on what else they're working with out there in New England. But it is breaking news, and it does look like he's going to be moved before the start of the season. I can see him absolutely being moved before the start of the season. And then last but not least, we gonna end it with some Olympic basketball talk. Team USA men's basketball team plays Brazil Tuesday, August 6th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The men's basketball team, just like the women's team we're going to talk about, they should be able to beat Brazil. It seems like they're getting more comfortable, that they're gelling more. After every blowout loss, you start to gain that confidence like that when you start just blowing teams out. So Brazil feels like a team that they should be able to walk all over. But I did see that Canada and France will be playing each other, and it's most likely that those are one of the teams that's going to be playing Team USA in the finals. And I would say Canada is probably more favorite, and that's where we're in the tournament now. We're in the quarterfinals, so these games right here are the ones that I'm mostly paying attention to, because it's they did beat Canada, and I believe they did beat France, but that was that time, and now this is now. So we're going to see what things are like this time around. But again, Team USA plays Tuesday, and you got the women's 3-on-3 team. They took the bronze medal. Started 0-3 India Olympics, but they were to finish 4-0 to go 4-3 overall. They beat Canada, led by Haley Van Lith. Remember her, who got torched by Caitlin Clark in the was it the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8? A few months ago. She lost to Caitlin Clark or her school, LSU, now she's at TCU. But she were able to lead Team USA women's 3-on-3 team to bronze medal. So hats off, because it was a slow start, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Cameron Brink was supposed to be on that team, but she tore her ACL or something like that. Plays for the LA Sparks. So I don't know how different. I didn't see it. I just saw the news, and I don't know how different things would have been if Brink played. But hats off to Haley Van Lith and the rest of the team, especially Haley, because whenever people picture her, they always think about what Caitlin Clark did to her in the NCAA tournament. So it's not silver, it's not gold, it's not second place, it's not first place. But to start 0-3, that can demoralize you. That can really, mess with you mentally. And then to come back and win 4 straight and take home a medal of some sort, it is bronze. I give her props for that. It won't completely wipe away the stain of what Caitlin Clark did to her. She has to lead TCU to a national championship for that to happen. But hats off to them. And then you got the USA women's basketball team. They will play Nigeria, Wednesday, August 7th. And if you don't know about Nigeria, they are the first African country, man or women's basketball, to reach the quarterfinals in the Olympics. Congratulations to Nigeria women for doing that. as far as them playing Team USA women, I did see Japan play Team USA, and I did see Germany play Team USA. And those two teams gave Team USA all they could handle both times in both games in the first half, where you were looking like, are our women really about to lose to these teams? Especially Japan. Japan had a really small team, but they had shooters. In Germany, same thing. They had shooters. They kept getting in there. And they felt like real threats until Asia Wilson, of course, the best player on the planet, and Breanna Stewart had something to say about that. They've been the MVP so far for Team USA women, from what I've seen. Now, it appears that the women are going to cruise through the Olympic tournament. It appears so. But the thing I wanted to talk about on this subject briefly before we close out, how much more buzz would have been around the women had they put Caitlin Clark on the team? I know. Here we go again with this. But how much more buzz? Because I'm watching whenever I can. Even with the men, I'm watching whenever I can. And I'm just saying, like, people aren't really talking about it. And I think when they left Caitlin Clark off the team, you have to remember Caitlin Clark still has a huge fan base, and of course she has a certain political party behind her. So that turned a lot of people off. Had Caitlin Clark been on the team, you would have saw a lot of interest. You would have got a lot of coverage, a lot of buzz about this U.S. women's national team. Now, maybe they don't care personally. Maybe they do. Maybe they won't admit it. But it's all about what the consumers think. And the people, they honestly are not paying attention. And honestly, a lot of people, not myself personally, I don't care, but a lot of people want to, they wouldn't mind if Team USA women lost. I don't think they're going to lose, but people wouldn't mind. And I don't think a lot of those people who wouldn't mind if they lost, I don't think that they think Team USA will lose. They just saying, hey, we're not watching because Caitlin Clark isn't on the team. Hell, even Angel Reese. And it's not even to say that you needed Caitlin Clark to win. You're going to win regardless. You could have won without her, but just having her on the team would have been huge. And you're starting to see, if you're paying attention, and I don't know how true the rumors are about them losing sponsors, millions of dollars in sponsors because Caitlin Clark wasn't on the team. But I did see Dawn Staley interview. I think she was talking to Mike Tirico, and she did express some regret by not putting Caitlin Clark on the team. And you can see that. Could that be a case of losing sponsors, losing money, losing viewers, people not talking about it? Or is it, I think she mostly went into them, early on Caitlin was really struggling, but now you see Caitlin Clark has really, she hasn't found her complete groove, but she's really starting to find her groove, and now it's like, oh, damn. We could have used her as in to win, because again, I don't think you need her to win, but you got to admit she's a box office draw. She's a big draw. The W has never been this hot before. The last time I was interested in the W like that was 2013 when Elaine Deladon, Brittany Griner, and Skylar Diggins came out. And I was a bit of a Maya Moore fan as well. That started in her UConn days, and she immediately went into the WNBA and dominated. But the WNBA in women's basketball has never been this hot. And again, maybe they don't, again, they don't need her to win, but they could have used her. And it could have helped them a lot to have Caitlin Clark on the team. You don't even have to play her. You could have put her in the Diana Taurasi role where she's just sitting down. but just giving people something to talk about. Storylines. Storylines is what drive this thing, and that's why you've been getting so much WNBA coverage this year, because of storylines. That's the thing I always talked about before the whole Caitlin Clark Angel Reese saga. The reason people aren't interested is, you know what I'm saying, that people have other personal reasons too, but there's no storylines. That's the main reason. When you go into the NBA, it's always a storyline. Kobe and Shaq, first meeting since they've been apart. Kyrie Irving, first meeting LeBron. LeBron James returned to Cleveland. LeBron James returned to Miami. There's always a storyline. Now you got Jason Tatum, who was benched by Steve Kerr. You got that storyline going into next year. There's always storylines in the NBA, and you got one right now in the W with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, Rookie of the Year. That's what people have been asking me. Hey, who you think will win Rookie of the Year? I'm like, damn, this is really happening. And I'm looking at the Las Vegas Aces. I've seen a few of their games because I've become a big fan of Asia Wilson. And as stacked as they are, they, to me, I don't know why this keep playing in my head, but they feel like the Kansas City Chiefs of last year, where they're back-to-back champions, but it just doesn't feel like they're going to win the championship this year. It feels like it's going to probably be Breanna Stewart's year. And I'm looking at the Aces and I'm saying, okay, if they win this championship, then just like the Chiefs, I would never doubt them again. But it feels like an early exit for the Aces. But they are a stacked team, and Asia Wilson's playing out of her mind. But the Chiefs, I had them losing to the Bills, losing to the Ravens, losing to the 49ers. Now, I think I had them beating the 49ers because after they beat the Bills and Ravens, I was like, okay, I'm not betting against them. And then coming into this year, I'm saying I'm not betting against the Chiefs again until they lose. The Aces, to me, they kind of resemble the Chiefs in that manner. It feels like they're going to be like a 4 seed in an early upset. But if they win it, then how do you beat them going forward if they can keep this team intact? But again, even I got to admit, the reason I'm interested, the reason I'm watching the Aces, the reason Asia Wilson got on my radar is because Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, but mainly Caitlin Clark. That's just the truth. That's what they say, my truth. That's what happened. So kudos to the U.S. women's team. They, like I said, a lot of these teams were playing them tough, but they were able to eventually close out because they do have the best players in the world on their roster. And a lot of these women, well, most of all of these women, has played overseas basketball, so it's easy for them to adapt. Much easier than the man, because the man never had to do that. But that's all I want to talk about today. Let me know what you guys think about these stories. Let me know what you guys think about the Brandon Aiyuk possible trade, the Panthers not playing Bryce Young or may play a little bit, White Sox on a major losing streak, and the USA basketball teams. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll talk soon. Peace.